All right, it is a wrap. It is official. I've been saying it for weeks. There is absolutely no credible arguing with it now. I don't think there was credible arguing with it even a couple weeks ago. The 49ers broke the Philadelphia Eagles. The 49ers got as much vengeance as you could possibly imagine they could have gotten this year by going into Philadelphia and beating the Eagles, just absolutely smacking them at the start of December times 1,000, though, because they also derailed the Philadelphia Eagles season in historical fashion. The Eagles were 10-1. The Eagles lost 6 of their last 7 games after they just got walloped by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jalen Hurts went from MVP favorite to getting blown out by Baker Mayfield. Only twice before in NFL history had a team with as good of a record as the Eagles had after 11 games, 10-1, not made the divisional round. The 2019 Patriots and the 2020 Steelers. The Eagles joined that club, and they joined that club with even worse vibes than those previous two teams. Those previous two teams, there was no question they were going to keep their coaches, Bill Belichick after 2019 and Mike Tomlin for the Steelers after 2020. There's a big-time question if the Eagles are going to keep Nick Sirianni just one season removed from an NFC championship and a Super Bowl appearance, because this team has fractured. It is not going in the wrong direction. Everything that we saw with Philadelphia this season was just a staggering level of collapse, from the fact that Deebo Samuel was right about James Bradberry, calling him trash. I just watched Philadelphia struggle to tackle a 155-pound receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I did not even know there were players that light in the NFL until I saw a 155-pounder for the Buccaneers. That's high school JV level size, and the Eagles, as NFL defenders, were struggling to tackle him. He was breaking tackles, spinning away, picking up a first down. And then there was that touchdown for the Buccaneers down the stretch where you saw James Bradberry, the cornerback, completely whiff. If the 49ers had not suffered the bad injury luck to Brock Purdy in the NFC Championship game last year, they firmly believed they would have exposed James Bradberry. And that's why Deebo Samuel said what he did. He called James Bradberry trash before the Super Bowl. We already know probably what would have happened based on what the 49ers did when Brock Purdy stayed healthy in early December. But really what happened for Philadelphia is that this team isn't nearly as good as it was last season. This team was hanging on by a thread early in the year, even when they were 10-1. Why don't you take a look at this? This is weeks 1 through 12. This is when Philadelphia was 10-1 this year, team tier chart. You want to be further to the right, further up. The diagonal lines delineate team tiers. The 49ers from weeks 1 to 12 and the Cowboys were in tier 1 as the two best teams in the league. The Dolphins, the Bills, the Ravens were in tier 2. And the Eagles had the best record. And all the Eagles fans said that all that mattered was the record, but no, not really. Their point differential, their advanced metrics had them as a third tier team behind the 49ers, the Cowboys, the Dolphins, the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Ravens. The data suggested that the Eagles would come falling back down to earth, and they came crashing back down to earth in fiery fashion. And, I think that we saw a lot of confidence from the Eagles that was generated by the fact that they're winning close games, but the confidence, despite the fact that there was a lot of it, it was paper thin across all of it. And as soon as they lost to the 49ers, as soon as they got blown out by the 49ers, the Eagles completely lost their winning aura. They lost that confidence. And you combine that with a weaker roster from last year, look what happened to the Eagles after week 12 or after week 13, after they played the 49ers. They're in tier 3 right here. This is week 13 onward, not including this playoff debacle against Tampa Bay. Week 13 to 18, the Eagles are down here. The Eagles are a first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth tier team. The diagonal lines divide this. The only teams that the Eagles were clearly better than since week 13 when the 49ers broke them are the Patriots, the Panthers, the Chargers, and the Commanders. The Eagles had the 31st ranked defense out of 32 teams since the 49ers finished them off in week 13. Again, Jalen Hurts began the season as an MVP favorite, ended up getting blown out by Baker Mayfield. And today, the Eagles were lost on all levels of the operation. They couldn't tackle a 155-pound receiver. Jalen Hurts couldn't figure out game situations for the life of him. There was a spot there in the fourth quarter where it was still a close game, and all he had to do was throw it away because it had turned into a little bit of a defensive battle there down the stretch. I don't think that Baker Mayfield is good enough to blow out a team in the playoffs without significant help from the opposition. But instead of throwing it away on third down from his own end zone, Jalen Hurts took a safety at a spot where a throw into the fifth row of the stands would have been a decent play, but he took a safety instead. Hurts couldn't read a blitz today. The Eagles couldn't help him as far as diagnosing and picking up blitzes in front of him. The Eagles, last I checked, were 0 of 9 on third down. Maybe they finally picked up a third down in the final 2 minutes, but it wasn't even worth watching because they're already down 20-plus points in this football game. What else went wrong for this football team? Trying to think of all of the just negligible things that Philadelphia committed on both offense and defense, between the missed tackling, the poor blitz pickups, the inability. The fourth down. They had the 4th and 5. So this showed me beyond any reasonable doubt that Nick Sirianni has completely lost control of everything that's going on in Philadelphia. They were down by 16 points. It was 4th and 10, and he decides to kick a field goal, which makes no sense whatsoever because it's late in the game. Kicking a field goal moves it to a 13-point game. Congratulations, it's still a 2-possession game. You've just wasted your time. So they kicked the field goal on 4th and 10 to cut it to 13, but Tampa Bay gave Philadelphia a huge break. Tampa Bay lined up in the neutral zone to make it 4th and 5. So correctly at this point, Nick Sirianni runs his offense back out there because it's 4th and 5. And hell, even if it was 4th and 10, you still need to be going for it. But his play on 4th and 5 was a prayer ball into the end zone. They literally, I think it was Devontae Smith in the end zone. They literally tossed the football up to Devontae Smith in the end zone. And I saw that and I said, if your play call was a 50-50 jump ball, if you're just going to toss a pseudo Hail Mary into the end zone, why didn't you go for it on 4th and 10? The point of going for it on 4th and 5 versus going for it on 4th and 10 is that it's easier to make it 4th and 5, and you could throw a shorter, more high percentage pass to move the chains and stay alive. But no, they threw a prayer ball. They had the prayer ball designed for 4th and 5. So they didn't even have a good play call to pick up an and short yardage situation with the entire season on the line. So every single level of this Eagles operation was lost. When they showed Jeff Lurie, the owner, I rarely have seen an owner look that depressed. I mean, he was just sitting there stone-faced. It's not going to be pretty in the aftermath of this in Philadelphia because it was just such a meteoric fall for this team. Again, they won 10 of their first 11. Then they played the 49ers, and they lost 6 of 7. I mean, night and day. You saw, obviously, true bravado coming from Philadelphia. Nick Sirianni yelling at Chiefs fans a couple weeks before they played the 49ers. So much talk coming out of this football team. And then the 49ers went and won by, 3 or 4 possessions? They absolutely smoked them in Philadelphia. It was Deebo Samuel. I think that really, really hurt the Eagles' psyche and their ego. Then the big Dom incident happened on the sideline. And Philadelphia walked out of that building as a completely different team, like a completely different team after they played the 49ers. I mean, we've never seen anything quite like this. Even the 2019 Patriots and the 2020 Steelers, who both got off to really hot starts, but then lost a bunch of games, then lost in the wild card round. They didn't have a defining catastrophic moment like the Eagles did at home against the 49ers. The way that Brock Purdy played in that game, the way that Deebo Samuel played in that game, the way that the 49ers scored on 6 consecutive possessions on the road in Philadelphia after struggling offensively in the first quarter. Remember, they were down 6-0 at the start of that game. So the 49ers made quick work of the Eagles in about 2.5 quarters, maybe even less than that. The way they just mowed through them, I think that left Philadelphia just limping, just reeling. And the proof is in the pudding. They lost 6 of 7 after winning 10 of 11 to begin the year. So with Hurts beginning as that MVP favorite, and now I don't think that he was the best quarterback on the field today. I think that Baker Mayfield was clearly more in command of the game. And we saw Jalen Hurts throwing the ball or not throwing the ball from the end zone, taking a safety. When we saw those third down struggles in this game today, I mean, we talked about it earlier in the year so much. Philadelphia is playing behind an offensive line that was rated near the top of the NFL in terms of pass protection. So all of a sudden, what happened to that O-line? Did they forget how to block, or are the Eagles not running their protections correctly against these blitzes? But Todd Bowles, the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, is known as one of the most aggressive blitzers in the league. But this is the kind of stuff that you have to be prepared for. This is the kind of stuff that the coaching staff and the quarterback have to reach agreement and be on the same page about entering a massive playoff game. It's do or die. You have to be ready to pick up and beat a blitz at the NFL level. It's not just the offensive line. It's about the supplementary protection. It's about Jalen Hurts knowing the answers to the test when the snap is coming so he knows where the hot reads are. None of that was in place for Philadelphia. And this goes back to the last few weeks of the season where we heard about that locker room fracturing. We heard about A.J. Brown deleting all mentions of the Eagles on his social media pages. And if we really trace it back, it goes back to early December when the 49ers went into Philadelphia with many of their star players dressed in all black. Remember, the 49ers showed up at Lincoln Financial Field with Trent Williams wearing all black and Deebo Samuel wearing all black. And they later said that they were wearing all black because they were dressed for the Eagles' funeral. Well, it ended up being something that they correctly predicted. The Eagles died on that day in Philadelphia when the 49ers beat them a lot to a little. And Deebo and Trent Williams both said that they didn't convene beforehand. They said that they were just both on the same page. And I think this goes back to last season when the 49ers were so disappointed leaving Philadelphia. They believed that they would have had their way with the Eagles had Brock Purdy not gotten hurt. They believed that they had the advantage with the skill position players against the back end for the Eagles. And they believe that that chance was stripped from them when Purdy got hurt and then when Josh Johnson also got hurt and Christian McCaffrey had to come in at quarterback. And the 49ers truly believed they were the superior team to Philadelphia. So they talked that talk. That was Deebo Samuel and James Bradbury before the Super Bowl. Brandon Ayuk talking over the course of the offseason. The 49ers were never quiet about that. They talked that talk, and then they went into Philadelphia with Philadelphia having won so many games, and they derailed an Eagles team that just really was terrible after the 49ers played them. Again, this is the Eagles before the 49ers played them. Not that great for a 10-1 team, but they were still a third-tier team. They're tier 3 of these diagonal lines. This is the Eagles after the 49ers played them, tier 6. Clearly better than only 4 teams in the league: the Patriots, the Chargers, the Panthers, and the Washington Commanders. So moving forward, what do we have? Obviously, we have the Packers at the 49ers Saturday at 5 o'clock. I got a big article coming out on The Athletic tomorrow talking about Brock Purdy and Jordan Love, 2 quarterbacks who have thrust themselves into the elite quarterback conversation. It is going to be a heck of a matchup between 2 heavyweights at that quarterback position. And on the other side of the bracket in the NFC, you're going to have the Lions against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is going to be in Detroit, where they saw that emotional victory yesterday over the Rams. And this is a couple of quarterbacks that have been discarded in the past. Jared Goff by the Rams, who's now with the Lions, embraced by the city of Detroit, and Baker Mayfield, who was once with the Browns, discarded by the Browns. He is now welcomed by the Tampa Bay Bucks. He's won a playoff game over the Philadelphia Eagles. I think that he put up numbers that even Tom Brady hadn't put up in Tampa Bay history today with that annihilation of Philadelphia. So it's going to be Baker Mayfield against Jared Goff in Detroit. I think that the Lions are going to be favored in this game as the home team. I'm sure the line is already out. So I think most likely you see Detroit advance, but it is no given. On the other side of the bracket, most likely you see the 49ers advance, but it is no given. The 49ers about 9.5 to 10-point favorites over the Green Bay Packers. And if both of those things happen, if the 49ers and the Detroit Lions both win next weekend, then you will see San Francisco and Detroit in the NFC title game. You will not see San Francisco play Philadelphia. They already beat Philadelphia in December. That led to the tailspin that ended today. You will not see San Francisco play Dallas. They already beat the Cowboys 42-10. I think that gave us an idea of who Dallas was back in week 5. It was verified with their loss to the Packers. 49ers will not play the Rams. They beat the Rams back in week 2 by only 7. Should have been 10, but only 7. The Rams kicked that field goal at the end. The Rams morphed into a better team as the season went along, but they didn't quite improve enough to beat the Detroit Lions on the road. So presumably the biggest threats to the 49ers in the NFC have all been eliminated. And now you're sitting there looking at the Green Bay Packers, who are a rising team, who, like the Rams, got a lot better over the course of the season. You're looking at the Detroit Lions, a team we've been talking about since week 1 when they beat the Kansas City Chiefs on the road on Thursday Night Football, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a team that the 49ers completely worked at Levi's Stadium back in November. So San Francisco is still a heavy favorite to win the NFC. The other side of the operation here in the playoffs, the AFC side, that's a lot more convoluted, right? We saw the Buffalo Bills win today. They're going to play the Kansas City Chiefs next Sunday night. And the other side of the bracket is the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens, who had the bye just like the 49ers, they get to play the up-and-comers. They get to play C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans. And I think there's some nice symmetry there, too. Both number 1 seeds had some rest, licking their wounds, getting ready for the divisional round. Both of them have to play these surging, up-and-coming quarterbacks. The 49ers against Jordan Love, the Baltimore Ravens against C.J. Stroud and that former 49ers, DeMeco Ryans, Bobby Slowick coaching staff. So I think next week is going to be tremendous theater. The wild card round is typically only a short warm-up, right? It's just the warm-up. We've got a lot of mismatches like Texans against the Browns, Chiefs against the Dolphins, Eagles against the Buccaneers. That was a mismatch in favor of Tampa Bay. There will be mixed matches next week. I do think the 49ers are significantly better than the Green Bay Packers, but there's also going to be some really, really great pairings next week. And the great pairing is going to become the norm rather than the exception that it was during the wild card weekend. We talk about a really good pairing. How about the Bills and Kansas City? That's going to be in Buffalo. Patrick Mahomes has to go on the road against the Bills team that underperformed for much of the year, but is playing much, much better football now. You look at the Houston Texans against the Baltimore Ravens. That's going to be a compelling game because Houston is playing its best football of the season right now. And then, you go to the NFC side opposite of the 49ers and you look at Detroit and Tampa Bay. I think that has the potential to be a really tight game. Again, a game between a couple of quarterbacks who had been discarded by previous teams, playing with chips on their shoulder, and they're going to be going at it in the Motor City in Detroit, Motown, as they call it. But right now, we're talking about the 49ers. We're talking about how they broke the Eagles, and we're talking about how they're getting ready to play the Packers on Saturday at 5 p.m. at Levi's Stadium. I should look at the most updated weather forecast here for Santa Clara. We're still a few days out, so it's probably not going to be the most exact thing. But yesterday, there was a 58% chance of rain on Saturday. Right now, I can tell you that on Saturday, it's down to a 49% chance of rain. How's that? That's fitting for the 49ers playoff game. There's a 49% chance of rain in Santa Clara on Saturday. It's up to a 75% chance of rain on Sunday. So probably a good thing that this game was scheduled on Saturday versus Sunday, at least according to these early probabilities. It was a beautiful day today in San Francisco. Sun was out. The forecast was actually wrong. They were saying it was going to be mostly cloudy. No, the sun was shining nice and bright in the Bay Area today. Tomorrow, they're saying 59% chance of rain. Then they're saying the sun's going to peak out on Wednesday and Thursday, followed by heavier rain, 95% chance on Friday in Santa Clara. And then the game is on Saturday at 5 p.m. So rain in the forecast here. It doesn't really settle down until the middle of the following week, which would be leading up to the NFC Championship game. But be sure to check out the article that I have coming out tomorrow because I talk about the analytics, and they're so impressive between Brock Purdy and Jordan Love. This is a quarterback matchup. These are two elite quarterbacks. They've proven themselves over the course of this season. Brock Purdy over the whole season, Jordan Love since about week 9. The accuracy and efficiency metrics of both of these guys are at the top of the league, and they face each other. It's going to be like when Steve Young and Brett Favre were playing. You got a couple of really, really good quarterbacks, except these guys are really young. Purdy's 24. Jordan Love just turned 25 in November. This could set it up for an NFC rivalry for years to come. The Packers feel like they're just getting started with this new group. They've got a lot of young receivers as well, first and second year guys. And the 49ers feel that they're at the start of a long run as well. They think they can win the Super Bowl this year and continue winning in years to come. But the Green Bay Packers might be one of the teams that present problems in that regard. So it should be a really, really exciting 49ers Packers divisional round matchup. I'm going to open it up to a 49ers Q&A, and then I'm going to get some graphics up on the screen. Maybe give you guys a couple San Francisco food recommendations, because I got some good stuff today. Yeah, I went to Taqueria Cancun today, which was elite. I got a good sandwich at this place in North Beach called Le Sandwich, like French, Le Sandwich, run by a former Michelin star chef. Now he just has a sandwich shop on Columbus over in North Beach. So that was elite as well. I went to Candlestick Park today, the old site of Candlestick Park. We'll have something coming from there. I was at the Buffalo Bills bar. That was crazy today. I did a live from there. That's North Star and North Beach. That was really good stuff as well. So I'm importing a couple of videos here so I can put them up on the screen and show you some of the good stuff today from San Francisco. But we're going to open this up to a 49ers Q&A and go from there. This is a good point. The Eagles did get hurt when they lost both of their coordinators, but it's up to the head coach to alleviate the brain drain. Guess who's been losing coordinators left and right on a nearly annual basis and who hasn't been affected negatively by it? The San Francisco 49ers. Bill Walsh, back in the day, he would lose his coaches all the time because everybody wants to hire coaches from a winning building where the culture is good. They want a piece of that. The 49ers kept on winning Super Bowls. It is up to the head coach and the general manager to build an organization that is healthy enough to withstand outside poaching. Because at the end of the day, your goal is to be poached from the outside. If you're not getting poached from the outside, you're not doing it right. You want to set an example for the rest of the league. So the Eagles had a great year last year. There was some poaching going on. Jonathan Gannon went to the Arizona Cardinals to be their head coach. Nick Sirianni's got to be able to refill that staff. If you can't refill that staff, you're not leading effectively on a macro level. And if you're hired in 2021, you bring the team into playoff contention in that season, then you take the team to the Super Bowl in 2022, but then it all fizzles out at the first sign of adversity in 2023 when they got beaten so badly by the 49ers. If you can't navigate that better than the Eagles did, that's not a good look for Philadelphia. Again, tier 6 team, the Philadelphia Eagles. Go for Broke has a prediction. I don't know if this prediction is correct. He has a prediction for Saturday's game. It will get dark sometime after kickoff, so they'll have to turn the lights on in the stadium. Let's see if my prediction holds true. The reason I don't think this is correct is because kickoff is at 5:15. It's already going to be dark at kickoff. The lights are going to be on before kickoff. So I don't know. Go for Broke always posts really, really insightful stuff, but I'm not sure if this one's going to hold. My bet, and we could put a couple bucks down on this. My bet with you is that these lights are going to come on before kickoff, because 5:15 this time of the year, dead of winter, it gets dark really early. We have a resident Chiefs fan in here. This is really random. Probably a Chiefs fan that is soaking in Philadelphia's collapse after the Eagles went into Kansas City and won, and Nick Sirianni started yelling at the fans. What a fall from grace for the Philadelphia Eagles. Unbelievable, really. Is Elijah Mitchell healthy? Because he is such a great weapon that can keep the pack. I'm guessing you wanted to say keep the Packers off balance. He's healthy right now. You got to hope, knock on wood, that he stays healthy. We don't like anybody getting hurt, but Elijah Mitchell's been running really well for the 49ers. He's as good of a number 2 as there is in this league. Thoughts on Bill Belichick interviewing with the Falcons? Well, he needs a quarterback with the Falcons. I would expect Bill to interview with multiple teams. I don't know why he would hop on the first opportunity. He probably wants to get a feel of what everyone is offering him as far as personnel control and just schematic setup given the rosters at each team, cap space, draft capital. Bill Belichick doesn't have to jump at the first opportunity. So I think you'd be crazy to not try to interview Bill Belichick if you have a coaching opportunity. Not saying hire him. I'm saying you've got to interview him. And there are a few coaching vacancies, and there may still be a few more coaching vacancies, including the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll see what happens with Sirianni, but I can tell you that Jeff Lurie, the Eagles owner, did not look happy, and nor should he be happy. His team started 10-1 and lost 6 of their final 7 games. Cowboys going after Belichick. I mean, they should. I mean, they should at least interview him. I don't know how you can get away with not interviewing Bill Belichick this coaching cycle if you do have an opening. Andrew Lee says the 49ers defense needs to pressure Jordan Love and sack him a few times. The Cowboys failed to pressure and sack Love. Well, remember the Packers have the number 2 rated pass blocking unit as far as pass block win rate goes with their offensive line. So stuff like this is going to be easier said than done. The Green Bay Packers have always pass protected well throughout this mini rivalry with the 49ers. I'm going back to 2019 because that's when these two football teams played each other for the NFC Championship game. So when you look at the Green Bay Packers and their ability to protect the quarterback, you have to acknowledge that unless you have a completely supercharged defensive line like the 49ers did with the Gold Rush in 2019, Nick Bosa, Dee Ford and company, unless it's completely supercharged, you're going to have to rely a little bit on the back end to make Jordan Love hitch at least once. Build a hitch in. That allows Chase Young, Nick Bosa, Javon Hargrave, probably Eric Armstead to get back there and log the sack. But coverage is going to have to fuel rush. And I've said this already 5 times leading up to this game, and I'm going to say it a bunch more. I think the 49ers effort is going to have to start with their secondary in this game. A lot of nice receivers for the young Green Bay Packers, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, guys that you don't have as much film on as far as the scouting report goes because they've only been around the league for a season or 2. I think Christian Watson is in the 3rd season now, but guys who have been winning a lot for the Packers, paired with a quarterback who's been throwing really impressively off platform, you better lock down on the back end because Jordan Love has beaten pressure this year. The 2 best quarterbacks against pressure this year in the NFL, efficiency-wise, number 1, 8.7 yards per attempt, Brock Purdy. Number 2, 8 yards per attempt, Jordan Love. Both Purdy and Love are excellent when it comes to extending plays, creating out of structure, moving around, doing some crazy stuff. Jordan Love probably has a stronger arm than Brock Purdy. He moves well too, but Brock Purdy's short area movement is elite. Both of these QBs, the point is that they can deliver even when the play breaks down in front of them. So even if you pressure Jordan Love, if you're not covering well on the back end, it's going to be a long day against the Green Bay Packers. It was a long day for the Dallas Cowboys against the Green Bay Packers. So this is an elite Green Bay offense right now. They are playing at that level. They deserve that respect. The 49ers are going to have to be ready to play good team-wide defense against it. And I think the fact that the 49ers have had some extra rest is going to help. Now, look at the other side. The Packers have a bad defense. It's a bottom 10 defense. And we talk about elite offense. Well, guess who else has an elite offense? The 49ers have an elite offense. Brock Purdy is an elite quarterback. And Green Bay's 27th ranked offense, not going to be a good matchup for them. That's a really good matchup for the 49ers, and I think that's what gives the 49ers the edge in this game. Yeah, the Packers have had an edge rusher, Enagbare, tear his ACL. So that is another blow to a Packers defense that already has a disadvantage on paper against the 49ers. I mean, I would think it's going to be Jair Brown because he's had time to heal up. The 49ers have been really happy with Jair Brown, the rookie. Logan Ryan filled in for him while he was out. Who's going to be the third cornerback? Is Ambry still out? I would think that Ambry Thomas will be back, coming back from his hand surgery. Darrell Luter is ready. He's in the lineup. And Isaiah Oliver, they benched Isaiah Oliver. They thought that they needed more short area quickness. So they moved Diamador Lenore into the slot and put Ambry Thomas in as that third cornerback. If Ambry is healthy, I think Ambry Thomas will be the third cornerback for the 49ers. Isaiah Oliver is a backup, and he's a special package player. So if you've got a big tight end you need to cover, and you'd rather in a pass situation cover him with a DB instead of a linebacker, that's what Isaiah Oliver is for this team right now. I would say he's more of a luxury weapon. Didn't work out as the starting nickel back for the 49ers. I got to get you guys some of this food up on the screen. I'm trying to open it up. What I need to do is I need to export it. That's what I need to do. Sometimes I don't know how to manage my own. Okay, I think I figured it out. I think we're cooking with gas now. No, we aren't. Hold on. I think we're cooking with gas. Just give me a couple seconds and we'll get this food up on the screen. Because I ate well today. Days that I swim, I am very, very able to put down a lot of food. You get in the bay, and that burns a lot of calories. There we go. They're both up there. Let's get this ready for you. Okay. Starting with La Sandwich in North Beach. Nice sunny day in San Francisco. So this is today's recommendation. This place is on Columbus, just north of the square. And this was chicken, pesto, some really good cheese, and some artichoke. And I talked to Elias, who is the owner of this place. He used to own 4 restaurants in San Francisco, including a Michelin star restaurant called George in downtown. And now he just wants to chill, and he runs a catering business, but just for fun. It's like a pet project of his. He's got this place called La Sandwich in North Beach. And I don't know if you can fully see the sandwich because of the text title, but La Sandwich in North Beach is very, very good. I highly, highly recommend it. I can't wait to try their turkey sandwich next time I'm there. Then the legendary Taqueria Cancun with the best burritos in the world, hands down. I'm not kidding. Taqueria Cancun is where the Mission style burrito has been perfected. The Mission style burrito, otherwise known as the cylindrical god. I have another video where they're actually wrapping the tortilla and putting on the aluminum foil. But as you can see, they flake the tortillas there at Taqueria Cancun, which I think is really, really necessary. And obviously, they put the avocado on it. That's not mine. I got a chicken burrito. The chicken burrito is really good at Taqueria Cancun. Anyway, 49ers and Packers Saturday at 5 o'clock. We talk about the 49ers having all that swagger. Now they're rested. They broke the Eagles. We saw the end of the Philadelphia Eagles today. They're going to have to go back to the drawing board after a complete tumble. Lost 6 of 7 after losing to the 49ers. Back to the 49ers Q&A. What's my take on Ravens Texans? We'll see. We will see. Has Lamar Jackson only won one playoff game against the Titans 2020 season? I think he's only won that one. But anyway, CJ Stroud is just like Jordan Love, up-and-coming quarterback. The Texans are interesting because they got a lot of capital in the Deshaun Watson trade to Cleveland. And they've quickly built up a nice-looking roster. They're probably still a year away, but once you've won one playoff game and you build a little bit of confidence, it's an any given Sunday league to begin with. The Houston Texans have a chance to make a real statement. against the Baltimore Ravens this weekend. So Baltimore is obviously favored. Do not count out the Houston Texans. I know that Lamar lost against the Titans in the divisional round, but there was a year where he beat the Titans in 2020, no? There was a year where he did get a playoff win against the Titans. He lost to them in 2019. I believe that he beat them in 2020. Terrible tackling from every playoff team this weekend. It's hard to watch, especially from Philadelphia. They couldn't tackle a 155-pounder. If you cannot tackle somebody who weighs about as much as a JV high school player at 155 pounds, you got serious problems, and you're probably not going to advance in the playoffs. And that's exactly what happened to the Philadelphia Eagles. Mike says, smash the like button, please. Ray Jr. says, Niners, Lions, NFC Championship game. I think it can happen. How do we only have 330 likes with 1.6 thousand live viewers? Seriously, smash that like button. Do I think that Odom gets activated from IR this week? I would think so. They opened up his practice window. He seemed to be recovering quickly from the torn bicep. They think he still needs a little bit of time, then they can wait for another couple weeks, but I think it's on a good track for George Odom. What would the approach offensively be against Green Bay? I think their entire defense is a weak spot. The Packers are number 27 against the pass, number 27 against the run. The strong spot, if you're asking for a strong spot, is Kenny Clark in the middle. You've got to neutralize him, but I think you can run against the edges. The Packers are number 27 against backs catching the ball out of the backfield. They're number 26 against tight ends. It's just not a good team against specialists coming out of the backfield or coming out of non-traditional receiving positions. Jaire Alexander is a good cornerback, but he's dealing with a bum ankle right now. But I don't think the Packers can cover with their safeties and with their linebackers at the level they need to contain a 49ers offense that's tremendously adaptable with Christian McCaffrey and company. I appreciate you here, but I can't make a score prediction until Friday. That's just how I operate. I don't make maybe Thursday. I think a day earlier because the game's on Saturday. But I don't make the score prediction until later in the week. Thank you. I don't think there ever was any news on the McCaffrey injury. It was a calf injury, and he was expected to be full go this week. 49ers resume practice tomorrow. We'll make sure McCaffrey is indeed full go. I would not expect anything different. We're not sure if Armstead is fully healthy, though. It's very important that the 49ers have him. Is he 100% with the very tricky condition of plantar fasciitis? Nobody knows. That's something that we're still waiting to see. So Eric Armstead is a huge, huge presence for the 49ers. The Packers are balanced. They can run the football. They can pass the football. Aaron Jones is coming off of a lot of 100-yard performances. The 49ers have yet to let up a 100-yard rusher this year. They may need Eric Armstead to make sure that continues against the Green Bay Packers. He single-handedly might be the most important run defender in all of football, given the impact he's already made for the 49ers. Remember in 2021, they were a below-average run defense. They moved Eric Armstead into defensive tackle, and they were the number one run defense by the end of the season. So this guy's the real deal, and the 49ers are certainly happy that he's working to try to come back against the Packers. Vibe with the 49ers was fine. It was a bye week. So they were resting up, yet they practiced hard on Thursday and Friday. It was a combo of rest, hard practice, more rest. They're back at it tomorrow. I'll report live from Levi's Stadium. Dre in coverage going to be huge for the 49ers. Yeah, against Luke Musgrave. And also against Aaron Jones coming out of the backfield. He had a nice screen catch. He only had one reception against the Cowboys, but it went for 13 yards. It was a well-designed play. Flying from sideline to sideline at that linebacker position against the team that runs as much play action, that's as balanced as the Packers with Jordan Love and Aaron Jones. That's I mean, the linebackers are the key combatants of that. Those are the guys that have to be able to cover both the pass patterns and those run plays on the interior. John thinks that Brock Purdy is better than Jordan Love. Well, I think they're both very talented, and it's going to be fun to see both of these guys out on the field Saturday. Of course, rain might affect any game. If the football is wet, if it's windy, if the field is wet, it's these are highly precise operations. This is professional football. So if anything is not dry, then there can be an effect. Hello to you in Australia. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Is Jason Verrett going to be on the sidelines? I don't know, but he posted on Instagram today with a message that inferred that he is not retiring, that he's going to try to fight through this and come back after injuring his shoulder. Will Brock get the respect if he beats Green Bay? I don't think so. Brock Purdy is a lightning rod. People like to unfairly criticize and hate on him because it gets them attention. It means something more than just football analysis to them. I can't quite put my finger on it, but Brock Purdy is going to be fighting an uphill battle in terms of public perception, even though it's unfair. And we'll see if he wins the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl MVP, if that changes, but it might not. And who cares if it doesn't? Because the people who know football know that Brock Purdy is an elite quarterback. Those people know that Brock Purdy should probably win MVP because every other quarterback in history with his statistical profile has won the MVP, and it's a season-long award. It's not just a game-long award. But even if he doesn't win the MVP this year, and I know he's not favored to at this point, he still has a chance to win Super Bowl MVP. And that's the true one-game award, right? That's the true one-game award that you actually want. And Brock Purdy's good enough to win it. So we just have to sit back, see how the rest of this ride unfolds. Which of the cornerbacks can we expose? Well, Jair Alexander is a really good player, but you can expose anybody if you have a balanced offense and you have them sitting on run or back too far on their heels against the pass, and then you run. You could expose anyone with a balanced offense and good weapons with good execution from your quarterback. So I would just look at it that way. I think that the 49ers need to continue playing balanced against Green Bay. I don't think they have as pronounced of an advantage against the outside corners as they do against the linebackers and the safeties. I think this can be a good McCaffrey game. I think this can be a big Kittle game. I think this can be a big crosser game against the Green Bay defense that quite simply isn't very good. Trent Williams did not say that he will retire after this year. That's just a rumor. That's not something that Williams has actually said. This is true. Montana was still being criticized going into his second Super Bowl. That was against Marino in the 1984 season, 1985 calendar year. Then they beat the Dolphins at Stanford Stadium 38-16. And I think after that point, the criticism from the outside stopped. The problem is that Bill Walsh traded for Steve Young and the quarterback controversy started. What a wild time the 1980s were. Take a look at those team tiers since the 49ers broke the Eagles. Here's a good question. Is anyone else disappointed that the 49ers don't get to destroy the Cowboys or the Eagles? Call them the Cow Pies. Should the 49ers move up in the draft to get Trent's eventual replacement? Potentially, but come on. Too early to talk about that. The 49ers have a Super Bowl to go and try and win right now. And if they do win the Super Bowl, they'll be picking number 32. It's going to be hard to move up because they'll have the very last pick of the first round. But right now, I think it's time to focus on this January. Let's cross the bridge of the draft and all those trades later. Live in the moment. You'll appreciate the moment more if you live in the now, not in the future. So Inspirational says that Tom Brady is my hero, but Montana is the GOAT. Should Armstead be on a snap count? Well, we're not doctors. We don't know the condition of his plantar fasciitis. I'm going to try to talk to Eric this week and get a little bit of intelligence on that. But they're going to make the decision with as much information as possible. And a lot of the times, I would say all the times, we don't have the information medically on the outside to be able to judge minutia like this. Mike thinks that Tom Brady retired a year too early. I mean, it's hard to argue that somebody retired a year too early when he's like 45 or 46 years old. It's just crazy to me. But I mean, he seemed younger than that. That's for sure. That was impressive how Tom Brady defied age for that long. I think Javon Hargrave has been exactly what the 49ers thought he was. He's not a great run defender, but he's a good pass rusher. He's racked up the pressure from the inside. And I think that the acquisition was made for what's coming. The next 3 games. That's why you paid Javon Hargrave that money, so he shows up at the biggest moments in the postseason. So far, I haven't been surprised. I think they've gotten way better on the defensive interior. That was a problem for the 49ers last year. The only 3 sacks all season from their defensive tackles combined. Javon Hargrave's blown that number out of the water himself. He's made the guys around him better. Let's say how he does in these money games moving forward. Do people trust Jake Moody? He's a middle of the pack kicker, which is good for a rookie. I don't know how he's going to do in the postseason. I think people are overblowing some of his struggles. It's not like he's a bad kicker. He's obviously missed a few, 85% conversion rate. I don't know. Just don't leave it up to your kicker. Do better than that, especially an all-star team like the 49ers. And for the most part, they haven't left it up to their kicker this season. Oh, yes. The Eagles were 0 for 9 on 3rd down today. Eric Gomes trusts Jake Moody. Rob C. wants to know the name on the back of the 17 jersey. I know we probably have a lot of new viewers. The number 17 jersey back there, you will not know the name on the back of it until the 49ers win the Super Bowl. If and when the 49ers win the Super Bowl, we'll have a ceremonial turning around of the jersey, and you will see the back name on it. That's been the deal, and I'm sticking with it. Ray is good to go. Yes. Chris Torre wants me to go to Lou's Sandwiches in the Richmond district, right? I've been there. I've done a show from there. Place is good. Maybe I can go back. Jennings is out of concussion protocol. So, yes, he should be back for the 49ers. Do I have a favorite college football team? Well, I went to Stanford. I covered Jim Harbaugh when I was a student there. So I guess you got to cheer for the school that you went to. I grew up watching a lot of Fresno State because I am from Visalia. Alex Martinez hopes that the 49ers win the Super Bowl. It's been a long time since they won in 95. I was out at the Candlestick site today, and it's still 9 o'clock. So here on the West Coast, it is still January 15th. 29 years ago today, January 15th, 1995, at Candlestick, the 49ers beat the Dallas Cowboys in the most star-studded game of all time. It was quite awesome. 49ers Cowboys, 38-28 NFC Championship, moving to the Super Bowl. It's the last time the 49ers won a Lombardi trophy. Juwan Jennings and Eric Armstead, key. Yes, Jennings for the blocking mentality, just the grit on the outside. And Eric Armstead, also a gritty component, stopping the run on the interior. Okay, everybody, thank you for joining. It's been fun. We talk about how the 49ers broke the Eagles. They absolutely did. Philadelphia won 10 of 11 before playing the 49ers. Lost 6 of 7 after that. Jalen Hurts began as an MVP favorite, ended up getting blown out by Baker Mayfield. Deebo Samuel was right about James Bradbury, and the Eagles were lost on all levels of their operation today. I wouldn't be surprised if Nick Sirianni is out of a job very soon, based on looking at the Eagles owner, Jeff Lurie, up in his box today. Sets up Lions against the Bucks on one half of the NFC bracket, Packers and the 49ers on the other half of the bracket. And the food today, well, we did Les Sandwich in North Beach. It was really, really good. You guys know the drill. I got to finish at 49 minutes. We'll talk to you soon.